Okay. Let's see what we have going on Zoom. You can hang out for just a minute.
I'm far away.
This chair kind of heavy. A chair?
Yes. What? If you win, you get a chair. I'm like dead serious. I'm gonna sit in there every day.
You get a chair?
Zero attendees?
You got a chair?
I ain't worried.
Is that right? Okay.
You know people who got a chair?
Yes.
Who got a chair?
Juliana, don't you get a chair?
She's lying. Look at her. She didn't answer.
Who can confirm in here that if you win, you get a chair?
They're just going to lie because you doesn't matter anymore.
I'm so serious. You get a chair.
So you don't get a chair, but she'll get you.
I was gonna find out a way to get a chair.
It's going to get us now. Okay.
I'm loving this. I hope you figure out a way to get a chair. This is
So
great.
sorry.
All right, welcome to our first news conference of this Saturday practice day featuring our Baylor Bears student athletes Sarah Andrews and Dariana Littlepage-Buggs. As a courtesy to your fellow media members as well as the coaches and student athletes, please silence your cell phones at this time. On your first question, please provide your name and media affiliation. And if somebody does join us on Zoom, we will answer via the raised hand function. Let's open it up to questions for the student athletes. Start with Mark in the front.
Hi, Mark Berman of the Roanoke Times. Congratulations on winning yesterday. You guys are one of the better teams in the country defending the three-pointer. What makes that the case for you guys? Why are you so good in that regard?
We'll start here with Dariana.
Our coaches really emphasize just being there on the catch and noticing, being aware of our shooters. So if we know we're playing a team full of shooters, we just have to be a lot more aware and just honestly being aggressive and staying alert of where those shooters are on the court.
Yeah, I think I'm piggyback off of Buggs, being able to find those shooters. We're athletic enough to, close out and get back in front when they try to blow passes. So just being there on the catch and making them try to blow passes downhill.
Zach and then Joey.
Zach Smith, Waco Trib. Sarah, what kind of unique challenges does a team like Virginia Tech present, even though they might not have, their best player?
Prayers go out to Kitley, but that's going to make them even more hungrier. They're playing for her. They want to win for her. They're a great team with and without her. They've had people that have stepped up, so we got to be ready to play, and the atmosphere that they're going to have tomorrow is going to be crazy. But it's a unique challenge, and I think we're ready for it.
Going off of that, environment, Castle Coliseum presents a very unique challenge because it is one of the most intense environments in college basketball. What are you guys doing to combat that and kind of prepare yourselves for that?
I like to think of it as playing at home. At home, we have a great home court advantage with the noise, so I don't think it'll be too much of a difference. I just think that we have to really lock in tomorrow, and with that being, we'll have that atmosphere.
Chad.
Chad Vothery and KWTX. Sarah, I know played Virginia Tech a couple years ago, and it's been a while. It's obviously a little bit of a different team, but what do you remember from that game, if you remember much?
So just to go ahead, just to tell y'all my age, how old I am. I don't really remember nothing from my freshman year. I think we won, but they're a different team, and we're a different team, so we both got to come out there and play.
Sarah, where is this team right now? What's the confidence level, and especially after a game like you had yesterday, is this team kind of maybe closer to where it was at the beginning of the season than in the middle?
I think you said it best. I think this is a team that you saw start at going out 13-0. I see that firepower in our eyes. We're 1-0 right now. We know the next game is not guaranteed, so we can't take any plays off like that. One play you take off could be the play that costs you the game. So we're ready to play. You can't get a challenge like this every day. Not everybody has a chance to be in this tournament, so we're just ready to play.
Dariana, how about a chance to weigh in on that question too?
Like she said, it's one and done season, so we have to really be intentional. And also, like she said, that one play that we maybe miss can be the win or lose. So we just have to be really intentional from here on out, and obviously don't think ahead, but take it one game at a time and just give it all we have.
Buggs, y'all kind of had the unique challenge of 24 hours to prepare for Vanderbilt versus a lot of other teams just had a week to prepare for their matchups, and then have another 24 hours. How do you think the season's kind of prepared y'all for these quick turnarounds, and do y'all like kind of being in that situation with crunch time and just a day in advance of prep?
I think we're really good in crunch time. It gives you, it makes you stay on your P's and Q's a lot more because you have to pay attention a lot more. So I don't think it's anything new to us, and season has prepared us as we had some games like that. So it's nothing new to us. We're prepared. We just have to be very intentional with what we're doing from here on out.
Okay. Kelly and then Mark.
Hey, guys. So, Sarah, we talked with your coach a couple days ago after practice, and she said you have one of the higher basketball IQs that she's coached. You know the why of why they're running something, and I know Coach Nikki's a very high basketball IQ coach. Has it always been that way for you? Have you been able to learn certain things from her that you didn't really realize about the game? Like, just tell me more about your growth there.
Like, basketball is everything for me. Like, I've been playing basketball since I was 4. So just to learn from Coach Nikki, first of all, she's coached where I want to be at the end of the day. So I try to learn as quickly as possible. And, like, when it comes to basketball, you can tell me anything, and I'm going to try to go out there and perfect it to the art or whatever. But, like, I don't know. It's just something about basketball. You teach it to me in the classroom or however you want to put it. I'm just a fast learner when it comes to it.
Yeah, with you guys being, I think, in the top 20 in the country when it comes to rebounding, is that kind of been a strong suit for you guys all year, and what's kind of behind that?
Start with Sarah.
Yes, we can rebound the ball. I think we've showed in some games we could be very dominant on the boards, and I think tomorrow, that's going to be a strong suit for us. We're going to have to rebound because we don't want them to rebound and get kick-out threes. That's when they're at their best, is knocking down shots from outside. So we're going to have to rebound the ball, especially on defense.
Like Sarah said, we have to be ready to box out because we don't want those kickouts. They have a lot of good shooters, so we just have to be ready.
Sarah, I know you've been at Baylor for a minute, but Dariana, you're a younger player from Oklahoma. What was it about Baylor that made you want to come be a Bear?
A big part of it was legacy. Like, there's a lot of stuff that comes with Baylor, and that was just something I wanted to really be a part of. And I'm happy I got to be here because now it's kind of after we got a new coach. So it's just like a new team for us, and I just wanted to be a part of something great, and I think that's what we're doing right now.
David Cunningham, Tech Sideline. Sarah, when you guys have been at your best this year, what do you feel like the potential of this team is?
I feel like the sky's the limit. I feel like you could put us against anybody in the country, and we're going to prove everybody wrong, and we're going to end up with the W. I think we're at our best when we prepare the day before, and, like, we're locked in. Like, you could tell us something, and we perfect it to the art. We communicate with each other. Like, I just think there's a different type of look in our eyes that I see when we're going into certain games. That's why I'm so excited about tomorrow because, like, if you're in that practice with us and you just feel the energy that we have, it's so many positive vibes, and, like, everybody's just living for this moment and, like, just want to prove people wrong. So I'm just excited to see this.
Good chance to wait too.
Yeah, super excited, especially just to prove people wrong. But we're going to be very intentional. And like she said, we always have positive vibes. If you do step in practice, we're always, having fun, but we're also communicating with each other and focusing in on the game.
We're going to Mark.
Sarah, I know you don't remember your freshman year, but you played for Kim Mulkey. You recall that, right? You stuck around, obviously, after the coaching change, and obviously the program has continued to do well. From what you've noticed, I guess, about Nikki, I guess, what's kind of helped the program kind of stay a national power even though you had the coaching change?
I think, me, I've been here for 4 years. Being here my freshman year, I've been in positions. I know what it takes to win. I've cut down a net in a Big 12 championship. Just embracing having Coach Nikki. Like, Coach, I'm here with you. I stayed because I wanted to play for you, and I knew what she brought to the table. And especially, like, if you look at this team, she's put together such a great team, and it's fun playing with these girls. Like, these are my sisters, and it's an amazing team.
Additional questions for our student athletes? All right. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
just a quick reminder, the Baylor locker room will be open until 1:55 if you want to ask additional questions of the Baylor student athletes. Coach Nikki Collen is up next. Okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
We
Promise
are
not to watch
pleased.
lacrosse while I'm speaking.
What are we watching?
My 16-year-old daughter's playing in a lacrosse game right now.
Yeah. How's she doing?
They're up 8-2. Solid.
Great start.
Two goals.
2 goals. Well, we're honored to be joined by Baylor head coach Nikki Collen. While she's watching lacrosse, she'll answer some questions for you. We'll begin with questions for Coach Collen. And we'll go second row.
Coach, Tim Thomas from the Tech Lunch Pail. Congrats on the win yesterday, obviously. What are your first thoughts of Virginia Tech and what they bring to the table without Kitley?
Well, I think, we in our league, like playing against Texas after they lost Rory, there's kind of that transition period of figuring out how different or how similar. Do you plug someone in and play the same way? Do you play a little bit differently? And so I feel like, they were kind of in that phase in the ACC tournament of figuring it out a little bit. But obviously, I thought yesterday they were incredibly poised against the press, got good shots, made shots. And so obviously a team that is really, really good from the three-point line. And I think they can still play into the paint. And it's finding that balance for Georgia and getting their shooters shots, because it's obviously a strength. Interesting stats on like some of their shooters. Like there are players that 60% of their shots are threes. They've got players that are 90% of their shots are threes. And so you kind of know, like they know their roles, and when they get their feet set, they're really, really good. So we've got to do a good job of taking away and contesting three-pointers.
Chad Bothering, KWCX. I know, Coach, it was a couple days ago we found out the news about Kitley. What was kind of your initial reaction? Obviously a very sad situation, but you got to think that, it makes the job easier because, she's, one of the best in the country.
Yeah, I don't first of all, in this sport, when you have someone 3-time ACC Player of the Year, I think her and Georgia's kind of games fit so well together. ACC champions this year, so I think the timing is really, really tough. You never are looking for an easy path. You're just not. Sometimes, in particular, you don't want your players to think that, hey, the task is any easier. Like, I feel like we're not just playing against 5 players tomorrow. We're playing against 10,005, because I think the energy in this building will be insane. I think the people here will take it very, very personally to help this team and really be kind of a sixth man because of what Kitley has meant to this program. And I certainly think they were going to show up either way. But I think that's going to be a key. Like, we don't look at the task as easier. We just have to play our best basketball and stay poised and, handle their runs. And I'm probably going to have to use my timeouts, so this building doesn't get so crazy when necessary. But, I think they're a really, really good team either way and showed that yesterday.
Okay, Zach, then Mark, then Jermaine.
Coach, how much is Baylor kind of embracing that challenge of going up against a top team in a raucous environment in a one-and-done tournament, with all the seniors that you have? How much are you embracing kind of this moment as a team?
Well, we started practice in July for our foreign trip, and certainly just like a lot of teams in this country had high aspirations and high expectations. And while we feel like we fell short of one of those in winning a conference championship, certainly advancing in the NCAA tournament was another goal priority. And, so you try to embrace these moments because, like where our game is at right now, we don't have 2 or 3 schools selling out arenas. We have 10s and 20s of schools selling out arenas. And so, if you can't get motivated to play in front of a sold-out crowd, I don't care where it is or who it's against, you really shouldn't put a Baylor uniform on anyway. So I think it's that whole idea of kind of embracing the challenge. and what it means, what it means for this program, what it means for them individually, and then, what our goals have been all season long.
You mentioned defending the three earlier. Mark Berman of the Roanoke Times. You mentioned defending the three earlier. Obviously, you're one of the better teams in the country when it comes to that. What makes you guys so good in that regard? And do you feel like this, that will be kind of one of the keys to the game since Tech is so good at shooting threes?
Well, I think we deny one pass away. It's not something that I'm giving up. Kenny's going to see it on film. We try to cover out. We're pretty true to our fundamentals and principles, and at the same time, we play scouts really, really hard. We know who we can help off of and who we can't. And you can see a reaction from the bench when we make mistakes, which there's always game slippage, but our goal is to not let three-point shooters beat us from three and not let drivers beat us to the rim, and be really good in terms of both our team defense and then guarding our yard. And so I think athletically, it's a strength of ours. I think we don't often get out athleted. Sometimes we get size. We have size issues. But ultimately, I think we can play out and cover the three-point line. And, at times we're little at the 1 and 2, but we have size everywhere else when it comes to the three-point line.
Coach Jermaine Farrell, WFXR in Roanoke, Virginia. Welcome to Virginia, by the way. When you look at yesterday's game, there was like ebbs and flows. I mean, it would get close, but then you guys would expand the lead. What's the biggest piece of advice you give your team when the game has those ebbs and flows where you're playing well, but then maybe there's a stretch where you don't play well, but then you turn it back on?
Yeah, well, usually we turn it over. That's what leads to those stretches. I think a lot of it is poise. I think when we share the basketball, when we're poised and we take care of it, when we give ourselves opportunity to score, we can be pretty good. And so, I think when we had some of those ebbs and flows, it was turnovers that leads to, advantages in terms of offensive transition and also opportunities to offensive rebound because you're kind of out of system. And so, we talk a lot about ball security. Maybe you can't always tell that from our stats, but it's something we really, really talk about. And I think, there were moments, obviously in particular in the second quarter when they turned up their pressure and went man, and we had Sarah Andrews in foul trouble. We were in a situation where we didn't have like the kid that takes care of the ball the best for us out on the floor. And the same thing happened late in the game. You get that lead, you want to rest key players, and then they start turning it up and trapping, and we didn't make the best decisions when they were kind of, creating chaos, I would call it. And so, every opponent's different, and you got to understand what that chaos can look like. Is it, are they denying? Where are they playing soft? Who are they guarding? I mean, when you look at our opponents, we're playing two very different opponents in terms of strengths. And so the ways that Virginia Tech's going to try to exploit us is very different than the ways Vandy was going to try to exploit us. So it's really understanding what those strengths and weaknesses are.
Kelly, then Shad, then David, then Mark.
Hey, Coach, I thought Bella was tremendous last night. Also was a great interview, by the way, after the game. What do you think enabled her to have that kind of breakout game, and what do you need from her tomorrow?
First of all, anytime Bella speaks, you think she's in line to be the next president of the United States, so that does not surprise me. That she was a great interview, highly, highly intelligent kid. I would tell you, I don't know if she would tell you, but I think we beat Virginia Tech out for her. They were one of the schools she took an official visit to, and I think she had a great relationship with Coach Brooks. I just think she was motivated for this moment. I thought she played a year ago in our comeback against Alabama in the first round. She was really, really good too. And so I think she's pretty fearless. I think when her first shot goes in, that gives her a ton of confidence. It really does. She really feeds off of that. Normally she's good for about 2 charges a game. And so, when she didn't get that call last night, I was surprised because I think she's at 27 charges on the season. But I just think she's an energy player. I really, really believe that, her shot went in. The advantage she had size at that position. We kept her almost exclusively at the 3 last night, so she had a lot of size. I thought she got in the passing lane. I thought all around she was able to defensively make plays and then knock down open shots.
Coach, obviously Foster Pavilion, a pretty insane, atmosphere, very similar to the one we'll see tomorrow. How do you think that's kind of prepared y'all for this game and also just, for the rest of March?
Yeah, I think we've, playing at Iowa State, you're always going to play in front of a huge crowd. Winning at Texas in front of 10,000, this isn't new to us. We played in Gamble last year in the second round with a bunch of freshmen, and so. Do I think this building is loud? Yes, this building's really, really loud. I think it's how it's built. It goes straight up. There's not a lot of bells and whistles, which sounds like maybe they're going to do some renovations here. But ultimately, I think the feel has an amazing collegiate feel because of the energy, of the fans. The energy of the students was really good, I thought, yesterday. And so, I think we're going to be playing against, there's not going to be a lot of green and gold in the stands. So, we're going to have to play really, really well and find ways to quiet the crowd, quite frankly.
David.
David Cunningham, Tech sideline. Sarah was up here a little bit ago, and obviously she's been one of the constants of this program for so long. How, for you, maybe both on and off the court, has her presence, her constant presence kind of helped you shape this into what it is right now?
Yeah, constant. She's the only player. When we started this season, we didn't have anyone on our roster that had been at Baylor more than 1 year besides Sarah. And I think it's the nature of coaching changes and turnover and the portal and things like that. She was a part of a 2-player class, and her classmate followed Kim to LSU when she went there. So I think she's been able to be a little bit of a stabilizer. I feel like as our freshmen turned to sophomores and learned a little better what we do and why we do it, Sarah's still the one that does the best job of not just understanding the play, but why we're running it, who we're running it for, and what we're looking for when we run it, which is always a huge part of teaching and coaching the game. It's not just run from A to B, but here's what they're doing. Here's how we need to exploit the pin down because we've got to slip it. Vandy was going to switch screens last night. So she has a feel for that. She knows if people are locking and trailing her off a screen, that she's going to have the drop pass if she sees the post player in front of her. We're still trying to get a lot of our younger players to our program or younger players in general just to read the screen to begin with. Are they going shooting the gap? Are they chasing you? What are you doing? And so I think for her, she's the one that can speak the best in a huddle when I'm not in it, when the coaches aren't in it, in terms of what we need to do. I think Bella and Buggs have come a long way in particular in terms of they've played a ton of minutes. So even though they're sophomores, they've played a ton of minutes. But I think that's who she is. She understands she's going to get her degree this spring, and has announced she's coming back. And so, and when she's just because she's been such a talented player as well, her voice carries weight.
Okay, Mark, then Tim has the last question.
You mentioned the coaching change. Obviously, what's been the key for you, your approach in terms of keeping Baylor a nationally relevant program after taking over from Mulkey?
Be me. I'm probably unapologetically me. I love to talk about X's and O's. I'm a basketball nerd. I love to teach. I always say I coach basketball because I love the game and I love people, and it's the way to combine the two. And so, I'm not trying to be anybody but who I am, and our style isn't the same as Coach Mulkey's was. We still want to recruit great players. I think coaching in the pros, I'm not saying I think a lot of coaches have a lot of different advantages in the recruiting game, but a lot of the top players want to be pros, and To me, it's like I know what a pro looks like. I know what it takes to not just get to the pros, but stay in the pros. And so I think that's a little bit of who we are. But at the same time, like, not everyone that comes to Baylor is going to be a pro, and so, but you're going to learn the game. You're going to grow in the game. You're going to get a great education. We're going to really focus on that piece of it too. In this world that we're in now of NIL and everything else, we don't want to lose the student part of student athlete. And so we're not afraid to talk about it. We're not afraid to be unapologetically ourselves in terms of our faith at Baylor. And so, it's just this kind of really cool marriage of the spiritual component, the basketball component, the athlete component.
Tim, last question.
Coach, obviously you guys had a quick turnaround in terms of finding out who your first-round opponent would be with Vanderbilt. I know there was probably some scouting you could have done of both teams ahead of time, but does that help when you have another quick turnaround like this, that your players and you already had to go through this once and you as a staff already had to try to have a short timeline to kind of say, all right, this is who we're facing, this is what we're going to do?
Yeah, and I think it helps. I mean, you're coming off your conference tournament when you're already doing that. I mean, but I also think the beauty of being in these situations is, in particular, playing here and playing against Virginia Tech and our players having seen them play in the Final Four last year and having those aspirations. Like, we don't have to sell them on how good this opponent is. They don't need motivation. We don't have to sell them a line, to get them to be motivated to play in this environment, to play this team. And so, I think they had a lot of respect for Vanderbilt, and will have a ton of respect for Virginia Tech, and not just what they did last year, but what they've done this year. And so, I think it's, we have pride in who Baylor is, but also in our league. And, it's another opportunity to play, a really, really talented Power 5 team out of the ACC. So I think that's the biggest thing. Like, we have their ear, because for us to get where we want to go and where they want to go, we have to be really dialed into scout and report and getting stuff done in a short period of time.
How's the game going, by the way?
It's turned down.
Yeah.
But it's 9-2.
9-2,
so they've
okay.
scored once since we started.
Well, I wish you all the best.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach, for being here. Virginia Tech News Conference will be up at 2:15 with the student athletes, followed by head coach Kenny Brooks.